when you talk about bumping a player, it's pretty much...
Great courage. One that says the bump is dead, that's how you deliver it.
What is going on, YouTube universe? My name is Trent and welcome to the Hip and Shoulder, where we discuss everything Australian rules football. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time. Your missus might say it to you from time to time. Your boyfriend might say it to you from time to time. Whatever the case may be, somebody might have told you it's time to get your tips in. And I'm telling you that right now. It's time to get your tips in for round 17. But before we do so, we need to reflect on round 16, which saw myself return to the abysmal form that I had at the start of the year. We only tipped 4 out of 9. It was an incredibly frustrating and disgusting round. I tipped Brisbane to defeat Melbourne. We got that one right. I tipped the Bulldogs to defeat North Melbourne. We got that one right. We then went on to tip Sydney, Collingwood and GWS, and Fremantle, the Gold Coast and Adelaide, all won respectively. So there's 3 X's against my name. We bounced back with Geelong against Essendon, but then we fell short with St Kilda falling to Port Adelaide. Carlton defeated Richmond as we predicted, and then West Coast got absolutely hammered. So we walk away with a very unimpressive 4 out of 9. But speaking of impressive, there were 4 people within my tipping competition this week that tipped 7 out of 9, the most correct amount of tips for the competition as a whole. So congratulations must go to Luca is God 44, Rockstar Pool 69, Tony Chop Chop, and Some Cripple for all tipping the most correct amount of tips this week. And in reflection, that has had some bearing on the overall leaderboard, which I do believe we still have a definitive, yes, we still do have a definitive top 10. In 10th place, we have Gramercy Riffs 78. In 9th place, we have Saintly 12. In 8th place, we have Matt Lamb 24. In 7th place, we have Benny Craig. In 6th place, we have Team Wiggles. In 5th place, we have Dan Cash. In 4th place, we have My Big Force Kin. And then 3rd, 2nd, and 1st are all tied equally for first place, but we have Frio 90, Dusty Fendoff 4, and Some Cripple, all leading the competition by 2 tips respectively on 91 overall. So congratulations to Some Cripple, Dusty Fendoff 4, and Frio 90 for topping the table at the end of round 16. And my terrible week pushes me back down to 20th overall, and now 4 tips behind 10th place, and my realization that I might not make the top 10 this year in my own competition is starting to loom, and it's making me very upset. But we have a big round of AFL football coming at us in round 17, kicking off tonight at the MCG with Collingwood taking on Essendon. Now, I've been pretty bullish of Essendon, I think deservingly so. Out of the top 11 teams, they have defeated, I think, 3. Within the top 8, they have defeated 1. So it's very, very hard to try to take them seriously when you look at the wins that they have had. Out of the 9 wins, 7 of them have come from defeating the bottom 5 teams, bottom 6 teams even, including Hawthorn. So 7 of their 9 wins come from beating the bottom 6 teams in the competition. And I'm not convinced. Whereas Collingwood, they've been able to defeat a few of the top 8. I think collectively out of the top 11 teams, they've defeated 5. They lost against Gold Coast last week, but I mean, they played a Gold Coast team that is undefeated at that particular arena, whereas Essendon went to the MCG, where they should have been more comfortable than Geelong, and you could have argued that momentum shifted with the umpiring in the 3rd quarter, but they fell short against a team that is considered to be a contender. So I don't know whether we can take them seriously or not, and I can't this week. I'm going with Collingwood. It's going to be a close contest. I'm going to go Collingwood by 17 points. Tomorrow at Marvel Stadium, we have North Melbourne taking on the Gold Coast. Now, again, this is a game I feel that is very winnable for North Melbourne, given the way they have been playing collectively as a team. I'm still going to tip the Gold Coast here, because I just think they might have an edge within the midfield core. but I definitely feel North Melbourne's forward line can get on top of the Gold Coast defence. It's going to be an interesting watch because I think North Melbourne are going to give this one a red-hot shake. At the same time that afternoon, they need to stop booking double bookings. This is why losing Thursday night games is terrible, because they start featuring games at the exact same fucking time. But we have Port Adelaide hosting the Bulldogs at Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide fell over the line against St Kilda here in Melbourne just last week. We know that in Adelaide, they have been not as impressive as they usually are, and I am very tempted to tip the Bulldogs here. The Bulldogs defensively have been hit, so it opens the door for Port Adelaide, but I mean, what does Port Adelaide have in the way of a forward press? They don't really have much to offer. The Bulldogs midfield battle with the Port Adelaide midfield is going to be incredibly great to watch. I think that's where the game's going to be won and lost. I'm going to tip Port Adelaide for now, but I'm not convinced. I think the Bulldogs could cause an upset here in Adelaide. GMHBA Stadium, Geelong hosting Hawthorn. I'm going to go with Geelong purely on the basis of it's being played at GMHBA, and we know they love, running over the top of teams at their home ground. Hawthorn, however, in some great form, and at no, behest are they not a chance to win this game. They are very much a chance. Outside chance, maybe, but I think they don't have James Sicily this week, which I think leaves a gap in their defensive structure. I think someone like a Jeremy Cameron could really get off the chain there, so we're going to go Geelong. NG Stadium, GWS Carlton. GWS need to win this game to stay alive, but I find it hard to see Carlton dropping this game after defeating Geelong and Richmond respectively as comfortably as they ended up doing. So I'm going to go Carlton on the road to defeat a GWS team that has just fallen from grace, and I do not understand how or why. Optus Stadium, Saturday night. Fremantle taking on Richmond. Richmond without Dustin Martin. We have brought in Noah Cumberland as a replacement. However, Richmond actually don't have that bad of a record against Fremantle when Dustin Martin doesn't play. I'm going Fremantle because it's in Fremantle, and Fremantle obviously coming off of a very impressive game against Sydney. This, however, is very much a game where, given how Fremantle's season has gone, they could drop this game against Richmond, and I would be very happy for Richmond to pick up another win, especially something on the road like a Fremantle. But I don't see how Richmond get it done here. As much as I would love to see my boys win, Fremantle should win this one comprehensively. MCG, Sunday afternoon. Melbourne taking on West Coast. Melbourne have to win this game. They need to really regather themselves after dropping the ball the last couple of weeks without Christian Petrarca in the team. West Coast are going to rock up to MCG with every confidence in the world that this game is winnable, and I'm not going to put it past them. Marvel Stadium, St Kilda, Sydney. Good night, St Kilda. Sydney are going to get an easy victory here, especially with no Max King up forward for St Kilda. That being said, I would argue St Kilda's forward line has been better this season when Max King hasn't been in it, so that'll be an interesting watch. And the rounds out at the Gabba with Brisbane hosting Adelaide, and I don't think Adelaide get it done in Brisbane. I think Brisbane get it done quite comfortably over there. So just to take a little bit of a reflection on the tips I am making, we're going with Collingwood, Gold Coast, Port Adelaide, Geelong, Carlton, Fremantle, Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. And I hope to fuck I can stem the flow because I need to make up some tips here. I could very well go through and make some changes later today that sees me tip a North Melbourne, tip a Bulldogs, maybe even tip a Hawthorn to see if I can make up a bit of a difference in the gap, because I feel majority of the people in my competition probably would have gone that way, so I need to start mixing things up. I mean, what's there to lose, right? I think North could give it a red-hot shake. I think the Bulldogs are going to give it a red-hot shake, and I definitely think Hawthorn are well within their rights to win this one. GWS could upset as well. There's room for upset everywhere, minus a couple of games, so it's going to be very interesting to watch. Thank you for joining me for another round of footy tips. Do hope you guys have been enjoying the content I put out here on this channel. If you have been, continue to hit that like button down below to tell YouTube I'm doing something right. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button as well and get on board the community we're slowly piecing together. But that's it from me, guys. I'm out of here. Good luck to your teams this weekend. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.